What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 91. We got Mateus Nicolau going against Alex Perez. We are right back in the Apex after a week off after UFC 300. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this card. I think it's going to be a fun card. I think we're going to get a lot of finishes, a lot of high scores. It's a fun card from a DraftKings perspective because it has a couple fights on here like you really are going to want to target. We'll talk about all of those. Before we do so, if you guys could please do me a couple favors, leave a like on the video. It is always much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, getting really close to 25K subscribers. If you guys want extra content or if you want to support me more, best way to do so is dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find all my DraftKings content. I do a DraftKings article, I do a Prize Picks article, get the targets, projections, ownership projections, lineup optimizer, and much, much more on dfsbythenumbers.com. And then also check out Prize Picks. This video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Use promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit match, and I'll touch on my favorite Prize Picks play mid-video. And then lastly, we did a contest for UFC 300. It was guess how many DraftKings points that Bo Nickel would score, and shout out to Gary. Gary guessed 108.9. The correct answer was 108.95. So he was very, very close. Shout out to him. Was able to hit him up. Well, he hit me up. I was able to get him his winnings there. So shout out to you, Gary. An incredible guess. I mean, very, very close to getting it like right on the dot. So shout out to him. And I think that's about it. I say we get into it. We're going to start with these fight doesn't go to decision lines. The first one up, we have a lot of big ones. The first one is Jonathan Deniz going against Austin Lane, minus 900 for that fight doesn't go to decision, a fight that I do think finishes inside the distance. Deniz, 6 fights, all 6 of them finishing not only inside the distance, but in the first round. And then even Austin Lane, 16 fights, all 16 of them have finished inside the distance, and I don't think that's, nothing different here. I think this fight's going to end quickly. I do prefer the Deniz side, 9,000. I think he has first round knockout upside. Austin Lane, 4 losses, all 4 of them coming by first round knockout. But Austin Lane, he's 7,200 for a heavyweight fight. He hits hard, he's dangerous, 100% finish rate, has some paths. Deniz, he's a little bit unproven in MMA, only 6 fights. So yeah, I think there's some paths for both guys. I'm personally on Deniz, but Austin Lane as a cheap play is not the worst look in the world. Next, we got another fight that is heavily favored to end inside the distance. Ryan Spann going against Bogdan Guskov. This fight's going to be a banger. I think it's going to be a banger and probably finishes under 1.5 rounds like it is heavily favored to do so. I do like the Ryan Spann side here. It's just Ryan Spann's one of those guys who's just very, very inconsistent. I think skill for skill, no doubt about it, Ryan Spann is so much better. He's fought so much better competition. He's well-rounded. He's really good. It's just, Ryan Spann just drops the ball. He's dropped the ball time and time again, so it's hard to trust him, but I think somebody's getting served here. I really struggle to see this fight going 5 minutes, honestly. Ryan Spann, when he's winning, it's typically in that first round, and, Guskov, all he does is win in the first round, so I think it's a one-round banger. This fight must be targeted at these price tags. Next, we got another fight that I think must be targeted. Is going to be Petrovic going against Liang Na. We got Petrovic is sitting at 9,400. Liang Na 6,800, and yeah, this is a Liang Na fight, which means it's probably ending inside the distance. Would be very, very shocked if it didn't, and then also it's probably going to score very well also. Liang Na is 6,800 as a pump play. She makes a lot of sense. She has a 100% finish rate, grappling upside. She's extremely cheap. I think Liang Na is a very good pump play this week. And then as far as Petrovic, 9,400, she has good finish upside. She's a finisher in her own right. I think she's finished maybe 5 or 6 wins, Petrovic. She has a couple knockouts, a couple submissions, and Liang Na gets finished all the time. So I think somebody is getting served here. Another great fight to target. And then another great fight to target. Uros Medic, Tim Means. I think these guys are going to throw down. Uros Medic, like Austin Lane we talked about, never seen the scorecards. Never been 15 minutes. 11 fights, all 11 finishing inside the distance. He has a 100% finish rate in his wins, and he's been finished in his losses both by submission. I think somebody's getting served here. I like the Medic side, but Tim Means at 7,100, he has a path. I mean, if he comes out here and grapples, like that seems to be Medic's weakness. So, I think both guys are in play, but I'm personally on the Medic side. Next, we got core plays. We talked about him already. Jonathan Deniz, 9,000. I think it's a good setup spot here for him. I mean, they're giving him Austin Lane, who has that tall man's defense, who's very hittable and doesn't have the chin to back it up. I think he knocks him out in the first round. Austin Lane, 4 losses, all in the first round. I think nothing's different here. Deniz goes out there and gets a quick win. Then we got Jonathan Pierce, 8,600. It's just hard to ignore the upside Jonathan Pierce brings to the table. This is one of those guys that I love targeting from a DraftKings perspective. He's a guy that's going to push a pace that his opponents are not going to be able to keep up with. Whether it's striking, whether it's wrestling especially, and especially here. Jonathan Pierce can wrestle. The takedowns will rack up, the control time, the strikes, it all adds up. And, Jonathan Pierce honestly has one of the highest ceilings on the card. Could he get finished? Potentially, and we'll talk about Onama for sure, but in a win, Jonathan Pierce scores incredibly in a win here. So I like Jonathan Pierce. I think he's very much in play at this price tag. We got James Yantop, 8,200. He's a core play just due to the fact that this guy is 8,200 on DraftKings, and he's like a minus 400 something favorite. Did go back and watch some of his fights, especially that Contender Series fight against Malik Lewis, and I was very impressed with Yantop. This is a guy that has really good volume, really good power. Was really shocked he wasn't able to actually get Malik Lewis out of there at some point in that fight, but he dropped him a couple times. He hurt him like at least 5 or 6 times in that fight. So yeah, Yantop looks good. The power looks good. He's a young guy. He's only going to be improving. He's a big guy, going to be the bigger fighter in this matchup against Chris Padilla. So yeah, I think Yantop at 8,200 is going to be very popular. Yes, but for a good reason. The dude's minus 400. Ryan Spann, 8,900. It's tough to trust him. It's tough to go heavy on him, but I mean, I think he's the much better fighter. I'm not sold on Bogdan Guskov whatsoever. Ryan Spann, he's going to be better everywhere. On the feet, he's much bigger, much longer, has a ton of power. Guskov's, he's super hittable. Ryan Spann can knock him out, and if this fight hits the mat, it's one-way traffic on the ground. Ryan Spann's a great grappler, whereas Guskov, I don't think he's that great. So I like Ryan Spann here. Again, hard to trust him. He could drop the ball, but I expect a first-round finish out of Spann. Next, we got our GBP plays here. We got Ivana Petrovic at 9,400, taking on my girl Liang Na. And yeah, I mean, Liang Na, she's been finished 6 times. I think Petrovic can win this fight, whether it's knockout, whether it's sub. I think at some point she gets on top and probably pounds out or subs Liang Na in the second, maybe third round. But yeah, 9,400, it's expensive, but it's a Liang Na fight, which means it's going to be fast-paced, high-paced, high-scoring, and she's definitely in play at 9,400. Karina Silva, 8,500. We have a lot of fighters with a 100% finish rate on this card. Karina Silva being one of them. 17 wins, 17 of them inside the distance, which is just crazy. She has power on the feet, but it's her submission game. I think she's finished her last 5 or 6 wins by submission. If this fight hits the mat, I think she's going to have a massive advantage against Lipski, whether it's a TKO or a sub. And even on the feet, like Lipski's probably the better striker, but Karina Silva brings power to the table. So I love the finishing ability of Silva here. Uros Medic, 9,100. Definitely in play. Tim Means, he's a guy he's 40 years old. I think this is his 50th fight. He's taken a ton of damage, especially as of late. I think there's a good chance that, Uros Medic can definitely go out there and get the knockout. Maybe even a club and sub here for Uros Medic. Another guy, I think it's the 4th fighter we've talked about with a 100% finish rate in Uros Medic. That cannot be ignored, and I think he gets the finish here as well. And then Mateus Nicolau, 8,700. I don't love it, to be honest, just because I think Nicolau could win this fight in many different ways. Could be a decision, could be a submission, maybe even a knockout. He has a lot of power. It's just the low volume nature of Nicolau's game kind of scares me a little bit. So if this is not a early finish, I'm not sure how well it's going to score. But with that said, he has 25 minutes to work with. If he is able to get that grappling going, I think he can, certainly put up a solid score. Maybe he can get a knockdown or 2. So I think since this is a 5-round fight, I don't hate him. If this was a 3-round fight, I probably wouldn't be touching him here. But since it's 5 rounds, I think there are paths for him to score well in this fight. Next, we got the Prize Picks Play of the Week. If you guys want to check out Prize Picks, use promo code DFSBTN. You'll get a 100% deposit match this week. We're going with Ivana Petrovic, less than 9 minutes fight time. She's taken on Liang Na, and Liang Na has had a ton of fights. It's 26 fights. I'm pretty sure 25, I think 25 of those 26 or 24 of those 26 have finished less than 9 minutes. So no-brainer here for me. I think Liang Na goes out there and gets the first round finish, and if not, she probably gets finished shortly after that, maybe even in the first round, to be honest. So I like this less than 9 minutes fight time. Again, if you guys want to check it out, use promo code DFSBTN. Moving on, we got the live dogs. Alex Perez, 7,500. Definitely a live dog in this main event, just because Mateus Nicolau, when he's losing by knockout. Mateus Nicolau has 3 losses. All 3 of them come by knockout. Alex Perez, not the hardest puncher in the world, but he does hit hard. And I think a path to victory for Alex Perez would probably be that finish. 5 rounds to work with as well. There's not a ton of dogs I like on this card, but I don't hate Perez. Bogdan Guskov 7,300. There's a couple fighters on this card where it's like their win conditions round 1. Like Liang Na we'll talk about, but Guskov, if he's winning, it's round 1 or bust. And more specifically, it's probably under 1/2 of a round because I don't think he has much after that. And if he's going to win, he's going to probably break the slate, so he's got to be mentioned. David Onama is 7,600, another guy with a 100% finish rate. He's going against Jonathan Pierce, who I think it's a rough matchup for David Onama, but on the feet, David Onama has a lot of power. He has a sneaky submission game, and Jonathan Pierce has been finished a lot. So don't mind David Onama as a live dog. And then Ariana Lipski, 7,700. She's been looking phenomenal lately. She's came through as an underdog 3 times in a row. She definitely must be mentioned. She got a nice finish in her last fight. Karina Silva's only been to decision once. She's been finished twice, so Lipski maybe gets a late finish here. Definitely in play as well. Pump play, Liang Na. I mean, if she wins, it's in the first round. I don't see any other path to victory outside of a first round finish here for Liang Na. 6,800. I will be sprinkling some there. And then the fade is going to be Ketlin Souza, 9,200. I think she can score decent. I actually like the volume, decent power, but I think this fight does go 15, and she's just too expensive for my liking. Somebody fading Ketlin Souza. And there you guys have it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys could, please leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel as well. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I'll be getting out the rest of the content on there Wednesday, Thursday at some point. And yeah, looking forward to being back. It was a nice week off, but back to work here. We got this card, and then we got another pay-per-view next week, 301. So best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. See you.